Alright, so clearly that intro wasn't good enough for you. That intro was not good enough for you guys. Alright, that's cool. That's cool.
No,
it was fun. It just scared the shit out of me.
So, just I actually had an intro, which is a funny thing. But that's kind of thrown out the window, so it doesn't matter. 1 second.
1,
2. Ooh, girl, you look beautiful. Oh, shit.
Thank you.
Oh, you glittery as shit.
Just so I could look like Jason today.
Girl, you look like a goldfish with silver. Like,
just a little. Just a bit.
So fabulous.
I figured, like, we're doing this for a project, we're doing this for an assignment, may as well look a little bit better than I usually do when I freaking sit in class with, with my blanket around my shoulders and just listening to my professor. So, yay, Ameltha's here.
Yay, Jason are here just looking like bombs. What the fuck?
You're fine. Mitch did say that he would come in. He just had to grab food and stuff, so he'll be in a bit. So, we did mention that tonight would be about conflict resolution and mediation. So, huge disclaimer here. Okay? We are not professionals. The 3 of us that are in this VC right now are not professionals. My professor and TA who do this kind of on a regular basis are more of a professional than we are. Okay? So, anyone that is in this VC is generally just sharing their experience and what they've had through their life. And a lot of this can be difficult to hear. So if you need to take a step out and mute the channel or like just take a step away from your computer, please do so. Like, our job here talking about this stuff is not to harm you guys, but literally just to share our own experience and how we handle our situations differently from each other, because everyone has a different way of doing it. Now, another thing too is that something that you'll notice, there's different things that we can pick out from each other's story, and that's generally because we've done it ourselves, or the situation that we've been through, somebody else has a shared experience with. So, another thing, guys, please don't be afraid to reach out to your friends, to your family, because sometimes we do need help, and, we can't handle things all the time by ourselves. And there is no weakness in reaching out for help, which is something that I struggle with a lot. But, hello, Mitch.
We all have our imperfections, but please, guys, just realize it early. If you notice you have an issue or a problem, please seek help either professionally or just with family and friends. Just speaking out alone helps dramatically. It's a huge weight off your shoulders. Even with a stranger, like, they don't even have to know you, but you just need to talk about it, talk it out, and just be more open. Be more open to just helping yourself, right?
Yeah. Another thing
test
too.
my mic real quick. Sorry.
No, you're good. Your mic sounds fine. So
it sounds great.
I mean.
Okay. Yeah,
no
I switched to the other output thingy. So.
Okay, so that's why you were making that face and that gesture.
Yeah, because I was just like, am I fine? Because yeah, I'm actually wearing pros right now, so.
Yeah, so you're fine. Your audio and everything's good. Now, the other thing that we touch on this, but, like, if you guys have an issue within the community as well, like, Amelpha and I are moderators, Jason's our streamer, like, please don't be afraid to reach out to the moderators or to the streamers and let them know, like, what's going on. Like, our job as moderators is not just to sit here and, like, ban bots. It's literally to protect our streamer and also to protect you guys as the community. So if something is going wrong, whether it's with another community member, whether it's with a mod that you're struggling with, it doesn't matter. Please reach out to us, because, like, that's our job to deal with.
I want to make everything a safe space for all of you, not just us, but for all of you.
Yes, That is the biggest thing, is creating a safe space for everyone. Okay, now I'm so sorry, but we're gonna go into like textbook definitions for this stuff. So like, bear with me with this.
Fuck. Bear
Because this might be a little bit blacky. It's the best way I can say that. But like, conflict resolution, no matter how you think about it, is trying to resolve an issue. Generally, when we talk about conflict resolution, though, we talk about it as an informal way. So when we talk about it with like friends or family, that's informal because we're not bringing a third person into the situation. Okay? So when we talk about like de-escalation techniques, it means that we are trying to talk the person down and get them out of the emotional state of their head and back into the logical, rational side. Okay? So it can be done just between two people talking things out, like Amelfa and I do, or Jason and I do, or we could bring in a third person to listen to both sides and then come to a decision or say, hey, well, both of you are in the wrong, so like both of you need to fix this situation. Okay, mediation is the most voluntary form. Okay, so a mediator is somebody who comes into the situation, listens to both sides, but they have to make sure that they are the most neutral in that situation.
Unbiased.
So they can't be leaning from one side to another. Okay? And they try and keep people engaged so that the mediation can go well and they can both compromise, everybody is cooperating, so there's no issues. Arbitration and adjudication, we kind of rope these two together just because, again, this is another third-party member involvement, okay? An arbitrator, for example, if you have a strike situation where a university or a college is on strike, an arbitrator will come in to make a final decision or judgment after hearing both sides and say, okay, this is what you guys are going to do, here's how we go from here. The last one that we tend to talk about is legal recourse. This is the most formal form for the simple fact that lawyers and the judicial system are involved. Okay, so you have lawyers from both sides who bring evidence from each of the respective parties, and this is held at a public hearing, and the decision is binding. So whatever the judge or the jury says, that's it. There's no fighting that, nothing. That's what you guys have to do. Now, each culture has their own way of resolving conflict, but there is no right way to resolve it. Some people go to mediation because of an outside perspective. And if we think of restorative practices, for example, within the indigenous culture, they use what are called mediation circles. Mediation circles has, I'm going to say guilty and not guilty, but like this, that's the best way I can explain it. So I'm sorry if this sounds very wrong, but with indigenous cultures, you'll have the people who were wronged and the people who did the wronging in a circle along with the elder of the tribe that they belong to, and then other supporting people. And the reason they do it in a circle is for the sole purpose of thinking with one mind. So when you're in a circle, everybody's heads are kind of together, so they think of it as we are one singular mind. And this encourages everybody to speak, and everyone has their own way of seeing the situation. And now that you've got this all out in the open, it makes it easier to talk about the situation. All right. Now, like I said earlier, we're going to be sharing some of our own experiences, so please feel free, if you need to mute the stream, if you need to walk away, take a break, grab some water, grab a drink if you want to, because it is a weekend. Why not? So if you guys have anything that you guys want to share in chat, We're kind of going back and forth in chat to check out your stuff as well. Sharing passes.
No worries, guys. We're not ignoring you. We will reply to you in a timely manner.
Yes, we will try.
We will try.
That is the most important thing.
As much as possible.
But yes, JD, like you are absolutely correct. But as much as sharing your past to strangers is generally easier, you have to also make sure that that person is willing to hear you out.
Consent is both sides.
Right? So you don't want to just have it where, you just completely unload on this stranger and you're like,
I just met you, dude.
So what do you think?
I just met you, dude.
They're just trying to vibe.
Who are you?
Like, please help me.
You just sit next to him at the bus stop. Yo, dog, I've been having a hard day, man.
Right. So even with family and friends too, like one thing that I try and do, I do this a lot with Mitch, is we'll say, okay, how was your day? Are you in a place where you can like hear me out, or are you not capable of doing that at the moment? And by hearing out, we just
longer, so I'll try not to have it take too long. I did have two, but one I can't discuss for certain reasons. So a little bit of background on me. I have 3 friends that are incredibly dear to me. They're like brothers, basically. They, on more than one occasion, have saved my life. So, but this story is basically the time that I pretty much lost all of them. And it was over one of the dumbest things possible. So, it was a pretty stupid situation. So, essentially, 2 of my friends had gone off for lunch. Myself and my other friend were left in the complete dark. So we walked to his house, kind of confronted the both of them, and then that was something that pretty much started the giant fight. And it was unbelievably stupid, unbelievably immature, and we were close to the end of the year. This was also grade 10. So this is quite a few years ago. But it was getting close to the end of the year. I was also moving at the end of that year, because if anybody doesn't know, I'm originally from Newfoundland, and I'm now here in Alberta. And don't ask me how I ended up in university in Ontario. I like to move around.
We have no problems with that, man. I'm glad that somehow we met each other,
So basically what ended up happening was we all kind of stopped talking with each other, kind of distance ourselves from each other, and it got to a point where I basically said, like, you know what, I'm moving away, don't worry about me, guys, just like forget you ever met me, kind of thing. Like, I'll be gone, just forget I was even here, I'll be nothing but a distant memory. And what ended up happening with that is my other friend actually confronted me and was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you mean the world to us? Like, how are we gonna let you just disappear? Like, that's not happening. And I kind of thought on it, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I was wrong to say that, and I was wrong to kind of act this way. We all were. We all owe each other an apology, and we spoke on it and was like, yeah, you know what? We'll be stronger because of this, and we are. And that's pretty much what ended up happening. We, both myself and him, discussed things and said, let's move on from this and not let it end our friendship. Like, we're brothers for life. We love each other very much, all of us. So we kind of came together and we're like, yeah, you know what? That was stupid. We're all fucking idiots. Let's agree to move on and be better for it. And that's basically what happened.
Damn, dude. Thank you for sharing, man.
You're welcome. I have quite a few stories like that. So
don't we all?
I was gonna say, I think a lot of us have like similar stories, if not like we can definitely relate to the fact of saying, to someone, you'd be better off without me. Just forget I ever existed. And it sucks. It's definitely a very crappy feeling to have. But at the same time, like in those situations, we're not really thinking about you know, what's going to be best for us, sometimes we put other people first and we say, okay, well, you know, this will be perfect for you. Like, it doesn't matter. You'll move on for this. You'll make new friends. You'll make better friends. And that's what you have to focus on. And for Mitch, moving away from boys, as long as he has, like, that's made it very difficult for him. Because moving to new places, now you have to make a whole bunch of new friends. And that process in and of itself sucks. Especially when you've created such a good support system with the people that you know.
I feel like it's very mature of both of you guys to just the fact that like someone notices like, you know, there is an issue, and it as much as you really wanted to close the situation, just say, I just forget about me. Like I really respect the fact that like someone stepped in and said no. They just no, it's not over, you know. And I'm glad that like, you know, some sort of action was placed rather than kind of like just avoiding the situation and just, you know, moving forward. Because like I feel like if you just move forward with that, there'd be so much kind of, you wouldn't get your closure that you wanted, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like closure is like a very important thing for any type of like issue. Like you don't want it lingering, right? You definitely want it to kind of just be a open and closed case. You definitely want to make sure that like both ends are right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
It makes me so happy to hear you, bro. It tickles me a little bit. mentally.
I was
I
like,
mentally
which
tickle you. Okay.
Talking about here.
I was about to say that's a new kind of touching right there.
Yeah,
Yikes.
no. Mental tickles are okay.
Hey now,
Oh my
Nate
God.
isn't in chat.
Do I have your consent?
Hey now.
Oh Lord.
Please
now
drink some
I'm
water.
Please hydrate. Don't forget to stretch, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Let us continue with this great night. Clink,
Mm-hmm.
clink.
Cheers.
Don't forget to hydrate.
Big bottle.
Okay. Don't worry, Melfa.
Gordon said no. But yeah, I'll elaborate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
No, truthfully, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change anything about the life I've had. Mine has been pretty. I don't want to like bring out the pity party kind of thing. I've had a bit of a rough life. Ups and downs. Emily knows a little bit more about that. But no, I wouldn't change a single bloody thing because the events and everything I've gone through have shaped me to who I am today, and I'm pretty happy with who I am today. Not many people can look themselves in the mirror and just be like, you know what? I'm happy where I'm at. I love myself and I'm okay where I am. So that's something I try and strive to do. I try and look myself in the mirror and just be like, yeah, I'm okay today.
Oh, that's sick, man. You're taking a dope approach. Like, trust me, my mirror probably has a bunch of sticky notes with a lot of like positive reinforcements. It's like, you look great today. You're not fat. Eat more McDonald's.
Jason. Something I did a few years ago. I think it was middle of high school. So after I moved here to Alberta, I basically came to the conclusion of like, I keep beating myself up every day over certain things that I can change and certain things that I can't change. So one day I kind of stood in front of the mirror and I looked at myself and I was like, all right, what things do I like and not like mentally, physically, emotionally about myself? And the things that I could or were willing to change, I listed out and changed them. I took steps to kind of change those things and fix those things. And then there were things that I could change but weren't willing to, or things that I wasn't able to or unwilling to change. And kind of came to the conclusion of like, all right, let's put myself in a position where I can change these things that will make me overall a better person, happier and whatnot, and come to terms with the things that I'm either unwilling or can't change. And I think it's... Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut off. How old were you at the time?
That was probably grade 11 or 12. So 17, 18, I think.
Wow.
About 8 years ago. So. But yeah, Jason, I've had similar situations to what you explained, and Amalfa, same as you. And the situation I had was somebody actually almost threatened my life. So, yeah, I've had lots of life experience with many different things. I had to grow up quite quickly.
I think we
But
all
with
had
that,
to.
I think kind of, yeah. Especially nowadays, I think people are having to grow up a lot quicker and a lot sooner. There's
Very true.
the concept of childhood doesn't really exist anymore. It's pretty rare. That's why you always got to try and be a child at heart. You kind of got to hang on to that childhood innocence and not let it go. Because then, if you let go of it, you'll wake up and just be like, "All right, life is pain, life is misery." Well, okay.
Dog, I still ask for the kids menu, man.
Does it count that I still look like I could pass for a 12-year-old?
Physical
Friend group. So, actually, repeat the question.
So
Just so I don't fuck this up.
I don't think you could. When it comes to community and yourself, what is the most important thing to you when it comes to keeping everybody safe?
Right. Selflessness. So, reason I say that is, so after everything went down with the event I explained before, I moved away. It was a very touching going away party. We almost burnt my friend's house down. That's a story for a different time. I'm not kidding. And I made my way out here. I went through a few different hardships for different reasons. But I kept my friend group strong. There were ups and downs, obviously. Like, we kind of were distant at one point, rekindled, distant, rekindled, and that kind of goes when you're over 3.5 hours difference in time zone and basically one side of Canada to the other. But the reason I say selflessness is, if you ask Emily, like, Emily has kind of an idea of how close I am with my friends, my brothers. I would basically do anything for them. I'd take a bullet for them at this point, because, like I said, they did at one point save my life. I lost my train of thought. Oh, right.
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah.
He does what I do.
Started
All right,
like
I
humming
remember.
another song. I was like,
Oh my God.
anyways.
So, all of my friends have their own demons. They have their own struggles. But we always support each other. We're always there for each other. However we can be, whether it's a phone call, a flight down, or like a flight up. So, one point during high school, my friends called me, left me a message literally in tears, like, "We miss you, we love you, we need you back here." I was on a flight a week later. And I stayed for, I think it was 2 weeks. I literally left in the middle of high school. It's like, all right, I'm out, peace. Back in 2 weeks. Like, fuck school. I'm bored of it anyways.
As most
like
people were.
Yeah, my counselor sat down with me one day and was like, "So what are you thinking for after high school?" I was like, "Oh, university." It's like, "Yeah, you're one of those kids." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "What? You're like, you find high school boring, right?" I was like, "Yes, incredibly. That's why my grades are so bad. I'm just like, I go to class like, yeah, okay, same shit, different day, yada yada yada. Yeah, you'll excel in university," and I did. But so to give you an example, one of my friends, he struggled a lot with confidence, relationships, identity, all of that. He's been through the ringer, and his parents are good, but they have their faults, and their faults typically are quite bad. So one day me and him had a conversation, and I was actually heading home to visit them. And I convinced him, was like, "Man, just come up for a week. Come up for 10 days. Like, whatever." He's like, "Nah, man, I don't have the money. I don't have the money." He's like, "Okay, well, okay, assume you do have the money. What days would you pick? He's like, okay, well, so like, say you had the money, would you come back with me when I was flying back? That way, like, you don't fly very often. You're kind of nervous about it. So that way we'll be together on the flight. We'll land. You'll have no worries. Like, we'll land in Pearson. I was in Ontario at the time. We'd hop on the fucking train. We'd get the connecting go train and get all the way back to my house. And good, you'd stay with me for like a week, 10 days kind of thing. He's like, yeah, it'd probably be a good idea. I was like, all right, what days would work for you? Like, say if you came back with me on the 10th or whatever, go back for the 20th, something like that. He's like, yeah, I think that would work. I was like, all right, cool, your flight's booked. He was like, what the fuck? So yeah, and I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, I have so much money. No, I was broke as hell, but I knew my friend needed to get the fuck out of his situation and to get out of Newfoundland and kind of see the world a little bit. And yeah, that made his year, I think. And this was actually right before COVID hit. So it was perfectly timed.
Yeah, it was literally before Mitch and I met, which is hilarious because funny fact is that Mitch and I shared 2 classes before COVID hit, had not talked to each other at all, and then met in one of our university courses, and I was like, oh, hi.
Yo, you know what though? It's funny how things kind of like
work out.
Yeah, things just work out in like the weirdest ways, but it's just something that we always look back on. We're just like, wow, it turned out like that, huh? And you know what? Like I love those type of moments. It's something that you could always like as such a bad experience could somehow still again be something to laugh at, right? Like it's just it's so emotionally securing to know that it's just like at the end of the day we can still laugh about it, you know? Like, yeah, there are serious situations you can't laugh at, but just like how things turned out, like the resolve and you know, the experiences that you've gone through and you're still here. Bro, I could laugh about everything, man. I got jumped and I still laugh at that, bro. Yo, what a bitch ass. He can't even defend himself, bro. No, I still laugh at that, dude. And you know what? Like, it's one of those experiences that like it'll always affect you, but at least you're looking at it in a more positive light and all the type of shit you've gone through. I love that about everything, man. Like, I don't know if it's just my personality where I love everything, but bro,
you're a lover, not a fighter, Jason.
I'm both. I fight for love, baby. I'll scrap for love. Yeah, easy peasy. But yeah, I mean, overall, everyone has their own stories, and I'm glad that we could all talk about and laugh about it. You know.
Yeah.
Go right. So,
there is a flip side to that though, which I would like to kind of give my opinion on. And this kind of goes back to the last question, and I'm going to speak metaphorically because again, I do have plans to start streaming, so I am going to have to start considering how to manage and run a community and whatnot. So as much as there are the trolls, the shit disturbers and whatnot, there are also the people that cry wolf. The overly sensitive people that seem to always have some kind of issue or take some kind of issue with everything. And those are also the people that I try and be very wary of.
Yep.
Because you never want someone that is always causing problems, but you also don't want someone who always finds a problem in everything.
Agreed.
So the flip side of that is, so if speaking metaphorically, if I was managing a community and this person was constantly coming to me, say every week, every month, every few weeks, every few months, and it was the same thing over and over, like this offended me, that offended me, this offended me, I took issue with this, I took issue with that. At some point, I would have to say, okay, I'm having no issues with anyone else, but this person seems to just find issue with everything. Because I'm very open when it comes to joking. Like, nothing really offends me, and I try and be an example of people of like, just relax, have some shame, have some self-humility, like learn to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
When you do something stupid, like Emily can attest to this. I've done stupid things, and I'll just, if I end up on my ass, I will just lie there laughing and laughing at myself for for a while.
You're a great sport.
Do it, Nezzo.
No. So funny story is like, this is actually when I moderated for Jason too, when he was playing Little Nightmares.
Oh my god.
Yep.
So
That was so good.
Given a Moscow Mule, which I'd never had before, and we had made some joke. I have no idea what it was. It was probably a pickup line. I said it to Mitch, and Mitch just looked at me because I was dying. I was
You were drunk,
crying my eyes out of laughter. He went upstairs for like a good while, came back down, and I was still dying of laughter. And he was like, "The fuck is wrong with you?"
No, but I agree. No, it's definitely the people that causes problems and the people that are constantly looking for problems, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I can't fucking say this enough. It's just, you fuck with the people, you make your own community, and you find the right ones. If you feel like that person is not properly suited in your community, some of the hardest things you have to do, you have to fire your employee, you have to fire someone, vote them off the island, right? Mm-hmm. So it just really comes down to, okay, like, this is the community I want, right? And again, it's okay to be selfish, because this is, again, your platform or your community, and or like your group that you want to associate yourself with. If there is a problem with one person, regardless of them causing the problem or them looking for the problem, it just really comes down to, do I want them around me? Like, at first, yeah, okay, like everyone says, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, let's figure out the situation here. But if it comes down to, like, it's just too much, and you know, it's too much for both ends, you got to cut that relationship, because one, it's not healthy for not only them because they're having issues, but it's not healthy for you, because then now you're becoming someone that you're not, right? You want to keep true to yourself. You want to be honest with yourself too. So, like, if I have to censor literally 50% of all my jokes just to make you feel comfortable, maybe this is not the stream for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you might want to find someone more conservative or more smart, less stupid.
And maybe it's not even about the outside thing. Like, maybe it's not a community. Maybe you just need to look inward and change something about yourself. Like, life is not easy. Like, you cannot live your life in a bubble. I'm sorry. I'm gonna burst that bubble for you right now. Life is hard.
Consent.
Life is cruel. And life will not give you any breaks. If you get beat down by life, guess what? Life is gonna kick you till you die.
I mean,
so you need to have some kind of fortitude, some kind of determination to be like, okay, perhaps, and self-reflection. Like, if you're getting offended at everything, maybe it's you that's the issue, not other people. Also for life in general, really, and just life on the internet, life as being someone on the internet, in games, like having a internet footprint, I guess, would be the best way of saying it. My thing would be, mine's kind of like a combo. So, open communication and self-responsibility. So, when I say open communication, like Amalfa and Jason said, maturity and a sense of community, people are way too quick to lean into their anonymity when it comes to speaking on the internet. Like, if you've been in a COD lobby, if you've been in any kind of video game lobby, any kind of chat forum, anything like that, and something goes wrong, yeah, it goes wrong, it goes dark, it goes, why are you saying this? Because I know for a fucking fact, if I was facing you in person, you would not be saying these things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what ties in with self-responsibility. Like, you have to speak in a sense that, yeah, this will come back on me. I don't have anonymity anymore. You're kind of seeing that with the end of, like, COVID restrictions and the masks. It's like, oh, we now all of a sudden don't have to wear masks again. People can see my face again. They know exactly who I am. I don't have this shield of anonymity. So be responsible for what you say, what you do, and be open. Like, stop jumping down people's throats if they disagree with you, or stop saying, oh, it's either your way or my way. There's, like, tying in perfectly with conflict and mediation, you have to find a compromise. Life is all about compromises. That's what I believe. Like, there is no right or wrong way, because what's right for you might be wrong for somebody else. And this is the way most countries should be led. It shouldn't be, okay, you do this and we won't do that, or I'll do this and you won't do that. Like, you have to find compromise. I don't want to get too political because I very easily could, so I will try and avoid that. But if you're in Canada and we're following anything recently relating to a protest, I'm not going to name the said protest, you know that there was not really any open communication or any compromise or any attempt to try and find a common ground between one side or the other. It was lots of shouting, lots of, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, and nothing else. So, yeah, you need open communication and you need self-responsibility. Stop thinking you're anonymous, because even the greatest hackers out there, even they leave some kind of backdoor or footprint, and you can always be tracked. And start thinking, like, if I wouldn't say this to somebody in person, to their face, then why should I be able to say it here?
100% agree. I totally fucking agree. Everything that you've literally said, I could literally embody in my soul. Like, it's just, is it really hard to understand? You know, yes, you could be a troll, and yes, it's funny to you, but it might not be funny to others. And exactly what Sleeping said inside of a chat is that, like, yo, it's okay if you guys know each other and it's amongst friends, but when it comes down to a public setting, a new group / environment, yo, just fucking be respectful. You know, you gotta understand, guys. Like, there's only so much that people could really fucking do, man. Like, or understand or comprehend, or, you know, no one knows where you're coming from, right? Like, if I make a lot of jokes about, like, some dark shit with my friends, it's great.
Yep.
It's fine. It's funny. Like, it's because we built that sense of humor together. We built that relationship. But when it comes down to, like, when it comes down to that random person that you just met and you made a joke like that, I guarantee you that either it's a 50-50 flip. It could either A, they respond positively, or B, they would be, like, repulsed. They'd be disgusted, right? So I know, I agree. 100%. I put $10 on that. I'll get 20 back. Gamble responsibly.
God damn it.
AKA, don't do what Jason does. Anyway.
Actually, I do have an example of that too. This kind of happened to me. So, Emily can tell you this. I'm a very open person. Like, you ask me anything and I'll probably give you an answer to it. And that also is physically very open. Like, if you come up and be like, hey, I need a hug. All right, I'll hug you. I'll kiss you. I'll do whatever. Like, I don't really... There are more than one way to kiss someone. You can kiss them on the cheek, on the forehead, lips, etc., etc.
Like, hold up. It's fun. My brain went.
Oh, of course, your brain went that way.
I wasn't thinking. Okay, you know what?
Okay,
next,
so
that wasn't what I was thinking.
Yep. So
segue.
I'm a very open person. At least when it comes to building relationships with people, because I recognize the importance of making a physical connection, because in this day and age, there's a lot of people that they can't take any kind of physical contact. It's like, were you a baby? Were you raised? Like, if you leave a baby without physical contact for a certain amount of time, they'll just die.
Yeah.
So that's a fact.
It's a fact.
Every person craves physical contact, at least in some manner.
In some manner, for sure. And again, like it's something. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off here.
Nope.
It's something that like it has to be consensual, right? For sure. Like
Yep.
you got to know what type of relationship you're getting into, right? So that's why we have relationships to begin with. The first process is getting to know each other, right? Hey, how are you doing? Who are you? What are you into? This and that. Like you start understanding the individual, and then you go into these stages like dating, honeymoon, and then possibly marriage, right? And that's it's we're always constantly learning new things about like your significant other or your pal in crime, your friend, and like that's been in there, and that's something that I always try to tell people too. Is like a relationship takes two. Right? And yeah, touching.
Communication, it's a two-way street. It's not one way or the other.
Exactly. It takes two. So definitely the touching, great. As long as your partner or your friend is okay with that. Right?
So my example is basically I won't give too much detail because it's not really relevant.
Mm-hmm.
But basically I had gone to essentially kind of like a room party. New to the group, they were all kind of welcoming. It's like, cool. And having a quick conversation just to try and they were trying to get to know me, and like one of them asked me, "Oh, what's your favorite band?" or something like that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the most difficult question for me to answer." And they was like, "Okay, I'll give you some time," kind of thing, and they went off and were having a conversation. I was kind of thinking on it and chatting and talking and whatnot. I was like, "Oh, I got the perfect answer." So now this is more my fault, but again, I was more not really familiar with this person and didn't know their boundaries. And if somebody had done this to me, I've been like, cool, because I don't care.
Yeah.
But basically, I touched them from behind on their shoulders and was like, by the way, my favorite band is this. And they got super uncomfortable, closed off, and like the entire room kind of turned on me. And I was so taken aback. Like I just had my hands resting on her shoulders, and I was like, and I kind of was like, oh. Sorry?
Slowly reclined.
Yeah, but it was so foreign to me because I'm such an open person that I was like, I'm just touching your shoulder. Like I touch people's shoulders all the time. Because there've been more than one occasion where I try to quietly go behind somebody in a supermarket. Like I'm super quiet. Emily can attest to this. I'm like a fucking ninja.
Yeah. Emily already looks done. She's like, I fucking hate you.
You're muted. Oh, or you're lagging. I can't tell.
No, my mic is being weird.
All good.
No, but the funny thing is like, as much as Mitch is like quiet and everything when he's walking, like he never scared me. And like I am very jumpy. Like he knows like I'm not okay with physical contact to a certain point. Like, if he touched me on the shoulder and I didn't know he was there, I would freak out. But like, when we were together, like, I didn't have that issue. I wasn't concerned with that. I pretty much knew where he was at all points. That sounds really creepy. But like, I didn't have to worry about that. So like, he'll scare the shit out of his family and I'll just be standing there and I'll be like,
hi,
how did you not feel his presence? Like what?
Yeah.
Hello?
But what I'm getting at is, so there are certain zones on the body that are more like erogenous zones, like, oh yeah, don't touch here because that's more of like a personal space. But your shoulders, and I can't remember what the science behind this is, but basically your shoulders are one of the areas where it's the most neutral place that you can touch somebody, which is why that kind of caught me off guard as well. But like I was saying, like every time I go to a supermarket, if I'm trying to go behind somebody, I'll kind of tap them lightly on the shoulder, like, excuse me, because yeah, I've been backed into so hard that I've been pushed into aisles and shelves. Ow. So I was like, I'm going to avoid that from now on and just be like, excuse me, come through. But then after that kind of happened, the entire room kind of took a shift. Like I still was good with some of the people that were more open and understanding, but basically every woman in the room was like, okay, this guy's a creep, this guy's a fucking whatever, and there was shutdown of communication. So, but that's not the way you got to do things. It's not the way you handle things. Like, I made a mistake. I apologized. It kind of caught me off guard, but there was no, you're fine, I understand, nothing like that. So.
But now, like, because of this experience, you've learned to kind of be more aware of you know, situations like this, where it's like, okay, maybe it's not appropriate to touch people's shoulders, apparently. Right? Yeah. Apparently.
Or maybe not the way I did it. Like, instead of
maybe a tap instead of a hold, or maybe just say, hey,
or like kind of lean to the side and get their attention first.
Or like a verbal, be like, hey, excuse me, or, you know,
yo, bitch, I'm talking to you.
Hey, yo, we have a problem.
I mean, I had to make some kind of joke. Come on.
Yeah.
So, but like, it was even the same way when I first joined STS. Like, I tried to do my usual thing of crack a few dark jokes, make a few people uncomfortable, but that's kind of how I bond, honestly. Like, I try and be funny, but I also try and make people slightly uncomfortable, because the way I look at it is, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to shield who I am. Like, you accept me who I am, or you don't. That's it. And making people uncomfortable, I can kind of gauge what they find acceptable and what they don't find acceptable.
Yeah.
Like, that first STS that I joined, that was a doozy of a one. But
it
was funny. Yep. Oh yeah, we were pushing buttons all over the place.
Pushing buttons, pushing boundaries, and you know, you're figuring out the appropriate line, right?
Yep.
And obviously by the environment and the setting that you've gotten from us, that you said, okay, this is a group that I could pretty much open up to and say certain things. And that like, there are experiences where, like, you know, we have had situations where we said something and it was just not right, and now we know for future sake, right? So okay, maybe we shouldn't be joking about this certain topic, you know, and that's the thing. Like I said again and again, we learn from our experiences. How the fuck are we supposed to know how you feel if you don't communicate it to us to begin with, right? So just the fact that maybe, yes, we did say something inappropriate and it did hurt your feelings, that's great. You not great, but unfortunate, but it's great that you've reached out to us and said, hey, that wasn't cool. Okay, all right, we understand. Thank you for letting us know. Now
I agree completely with that. Now
we can't just joke about it freely, and that's okay. Like obviously it was a joke, and you know, we're sorry, so we're not gonna do it anymore. Easy as that. Conflict resolved, right? Like, there was no conflict to begin with. There you go, right? So,
there is a flip side to that. It's very topic dependent. I'm not going to say, oh, I always go to guys, I always go to girls. It's very, like I said, very topic dependent. Mostly also because I tend to be the listener more than the person that will go to someone. Though I do have the people that I go to often when I'm kind of going through some shit. So, like, try and give an example here. I gotta try and think of one. First to comment, though, kind of like what you and Amalfa were talking about, Jason. Basically, what you guys were talking about were active listening.
Yep.
So it's always really a good skill to have when it comes to being there for people. And that's, I'm listening to you, but then I'm also giving feedback, and so for an example of what I would go to when it comes to a woman for, it would be
how do I surprise my girl?
Something like that, yeah. It would be something like that, or if I was having, say, confidence issues or something like that, I'd be like, all right, I need a kind of like a boost in confidence. Like, say, come shopping with me and give me your honest opinion. Like, Because for me, I think even when you're friends, there's some kind of level of attraction there.
Mm-hmm.
There always will be some, even if it's like a mutual level of attraction that stays in the realm of platonic. There is always that base level of attraction between your friends when you're male and female, basically.
Yep.
So if I'm feeling like down in the dumps or kind of like I don't feel good about myself physically this way, or mentally or emotionally or whatever,
right.
And I'm feeling like, oh, say my girlfriend or Emily or some of my other friends or whatnot
My
might be able
girlfriend
to give
or Emily.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
about to say, hold on.
Oh shit! I'm out.
Okay, guys, I think we have to get another stream. I think this is a conflict mediation for these two. I apologize.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know what you mean. Yeah, go on.
It's so hard to say your girlfriend and your girlfriends. So
GG.
yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. My friend who's a girl. Yada
yes,
yada.
Yes.
Blah blah. That yeah. But I do have a few of them that I go to and just be like, how you doing, whatnot. I have a few things I like to talk about. If you're up for it, like, let's catch up. And my conversations, Emily can attest to this, whenever I start a conversation, it can start off heavy, it can start off light, but I'll jump through about 10 different topics and subtopics and genres of conversation. Like, we can go from joke to history to natural disaster to humanitarian act to terrorism to etc.
Back to joke.
To love. Yeah. So, like, to give you an example, that basically me and my friend were talking about investment and then going into business with each other, and then we talked history, we talked fascist leaders, we talked politics, and yeah, round and round we went until the conversation ended. But yeah, it's really for me it's really topic dependent. For guys, it's like for men and women, I'll jump back and forth with confidence and things like that. I don't really have one topic that I would only talk about with one or the other. And to stick to the base of the question, yeah, I talk with multiple people. I'll talk with Emily about things. I'll talk with sometimes my extended family, depending on what it is. Sometimes my parents, depending on what it is. I'll talk with my brothers, and sometimes I'll even talk with someone who I'm just getting to know. Like, I try and get right to the point of things when I start a new relationship with somebody, and that's not romantic. That's friend,
Yep.
platonic, romantic, whatever. Like, to give you an example of that, there was a girl in my introductory to entrepreneurship class I did over a summer, and we ended up getting put in the same group. It was the four of us, 2 guys, 2 girls, and one day we were just kind of God damn it. One day we were just kind of talking about just different things, and then she got on the topic of life and family, and then I just kind of was her, not really shoulder to cry on, but like the person that would actively listen and just give her advice and just be like, yeah, I understand what you're going through. I've had similar situations with my family. So yeah, I'm not one for small talk. So my answer for that is, yeah, really anybody. Like, if I'm getting a good vibe from you and think that you can handle kind of delving into a deeper topic, I'm gonna go there. That's just the way I am.
Hey, respects, man.
So,
and like, hey, there's nothing's gender bound, but like, yeah, I agree. Just really comes down to the person. So yeah, I probably say the same in regards to like Mitch. It's just really depends on like if they could handle it. Again, the topic is definitely a big thing. I feel like more emotional topics, more sensitive, like emotionally, exhausting topics, I would probably go towards a female, just because again they're more at home. Again, I think like more motherly, like in terms of instinct wise, whereas like for men they tend to be more like butch and like their solution is I'm gonna solve it with my fists. Yeah, not really, but you'll know what I mean. Like it's more it's more like if I want something blunt or if I want something taken care of like delicately, right? Again, not gender bounding. Like females could also do the opposite, same with males, etc. and so forth. But it's just with people I know, right? But yeah, it's interesting to see the perspectives of everyone and where we see things here, because I do agree with everything, and it just really comes down to just letting everyone know as well that you're not alone, right? There's no right or wrong. You could talk to anyone. Just make sure that they're both ready and they're it's mutual.
I will add and say though that sometimes pushing people can be important.
In the right context.
In the right context.
So for me, it comes down to So for me, it comes down to the subject matter, the intent, and then the relationship of the two people.
And deadlines. So, if there's like something that's riding on like a timer, then then I get it, right? I need the reports. For example, I need the reports in by Tuesday, bro.
It's on my desk tomorrow, Jason. But for example, so to give them more heavy example first, when it comes to dealing with mental health or addiction, it's very important to give people space, but also press them if you think that they would benefit from it. It's not to say you want to force them into it, because if you force somebody into it, they're not gonna go with it anyways. That's it. Like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. That it rings true for people too. It's like no matter how much forcing or how much pushing you do to get somebody into something, if they're not into it, they're not gonna do it. That's it. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's just that initial fear of, oh, what are they gonna think of me? What's gonna happen? Oh, they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy, like I'm a drug addict, like I'm a lost cause kind of thing. And then that's when you have to kind of reassure them of like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go with you. If you're that worried, I'll go with you and show you that it won't be that bad. And maybe it will be. You're gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be bad, but life is not all about sunshine and rainbows. It's not all about being happy. It's kind of my personal philosophy on it. Like, as humans, we have a capacity for many, many different emotions. And those emotions are all there to be experienced. You have to take the good with the bad. Like, every day is not going to be happy or positive. You have to take the rough days and the sad days and appreciate them as well, because the more you adapt and the more that you appreciate the bad days, the more you appreciate and adapt and enjoy the good days and the happy days.
Yes, preach.
But to be on more of a lighter topic, I am a believer in exposure therapy, mostly because it worked for me. I used to be incredibly fearful of heights. And I think it was the first time I ever went on a cruise ship. I was basically standing on the railing and looked down. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. My knees got weak and like...
I'm spaghetti, anyways.
I had to take a step back and just kind of like, oh my God, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Oh, fuck.
I'm in on this winter already. Yep, sorry.
Oh, Nate's in chat. Hello, Nate.
Titanic, yes.
But, so what I did is I kind of took a step back. I was like, all right, you know what? I've got to get over this fear because it is affecting me, and I like to be near heights, as strange as it sounds. Like, even though I had this fear, and even though my knees kind of go weak, it's like I find peace when you're kind of at the edge of something. It's like you're teetering on the edge potentially of life and death, and it's just a very awakening moment. It's like, okay, I'm aware of my mortality, but this is also a very special moment because I get to be in touch with kind of my life. At least that's the way I look at it. Maybe I'm crazy, who knows? Although I know I'm crazy. So I do believe in exposure therapy. So to give a more light example, say you were going skydiving, bungee jumping, or zip lining.
Mhm.
And someone was afraid of heights or was just like, nope, I don't want to go. But I would press them and say, okay, why don't you want to go? And if they said just cause, I was like, well, that's not good enough for me. Like, I understand you're saying no, but you got to give me a good reason. If your reason is good enough, then I won't press you on this. But if your reason is just like, I don't want to, then no, that wasn't good enough for me when I was a little fucking kid. It's like somebody told me, no, you shouldn't do that. I was like, why? Why shouldn't I do that? Explain to me. Give me a real answer and not just because I said so. Like, fuck off.
Well, you know what? Like one of my favorite sayings is that you can't see the horizon and you can't get over the hill if you don't, climb it first, right? So this the heights thing for sure. Like it's something that like is probably one of those things that are stopping you from doing certain things. And yeah, sometimes people need a push, but like if you literally don't try, you'll never know what the hell's on the other side, like what how the view is at the peak. Like you'll fucking never know, man. So
you'll never know what's on the other side of the valley until you see it for yourself.
Yes, valley, sure. Something of the sort. But yeah, like I 100% agree, man. But yeah, is there before we wrap this up, since we're already kidding about those 3 hours, is there anything else that you have to add? No?
I mean, the only thing I can say is, like, again, whenever you guys are talking about conflicts with other people, you're talking.
But yeah, where you can find me, basically nowhere, the way I like it.
Till you stream.
Yes, which I will be trying to work on very soon here, with Jason and Nate's help.
Are you?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Are you planning on rebranding, or are you going to keep your name? In the works?
We're working on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in the works. I have another one I'm considering, but I need to figure it out if it'll work.
Okay.
But yeah, as always, thank you everyone for tuning in and being active. It was nice to see, especially tonight, where it's a bit more of a special night, and given the heavier topic of everything. But yeah, like everybody said, thank you. Positive vibes, and in the words of a Master Nate, fuck, goodbye!
He said it so much worse. But we do appreciate it.